Hello and welcome to episode 70 of the Breaking Yarn podcast. My name is Michaeli. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and this is my podcast where I talk all about my knitting, my crocheting, and my yarn dyeing. You can find me online at breakingyarn.com or anywhere on social media at Breaking Yarn. Today I have 2 finished objects. Well, I guess it's technically 3 finished objects because one I did twice and finished them. And then I have 1, 2, 3 whips. One was supposed to be a finished object, but I'll get into that. And then I have an acquisition, maybe 2, and a little bit of news in a new video here on YouTube that I am giving away yarn on. Okay, let's just jump right into it. I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing a Los Pollos Hermanos shirt. This is from Breaking Bad, and I got it at the Breaking Bad store just recently here in Old Town in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they have tons of really cool Breaking Bad themed shirts. And so I figured it would be fun to have a Los Pollos Hermanos one. I have a mug from their shop as well, which has the same logo on it. I am trying to motivate myself to create and design new colorways for my shop, and I figured this may help with that. So that's just a side note of what I am wearing. My Los Pollos Hermanos shirt, which is the Chicken Brothers in Spanish. Okay, for the knitting, I finished my Shine Bright shawl. This is a pattern by Jem Aerosmith, and she's under the Olive Tree Knits. And this one has it's a one skein shawl pattern, and it's asymmetrical. And this one has diamond lace sections that run all the way through the shawl. Isn't that pretty? So I knit this for the Shine Bright cowl that she is doing right now. This is currently a free pattern on Ravelry, and you can get it to join the cowl, which runs until August 31st. It just uses 1 skein of sock or any kind of fingering weight yarn. I used a brand new colorway that I did design but haven't released yet to my shop. I need to just set a date and force myself to do it, I think. But this is called Vámonos Pest, and it's when in Breaking Bad they tent the houses to do pest control, but then Walt and Jesse get an idea like, hey, we could use this for when we cook crystal meth. So for a while they cooked crystal meth in that week that they were fumigating houses because it was already getting fumigated. So they would just kind of set up shop, do a cook, and then get out, and then they would still be doing the fumigation process. And the homeowners were probably without this information, I'm assuming. But the tents that they would put over the houses are red and yellow stripes. And so I designed this skein of yarn to be half yellow and half green. And this I knit as like a sample for how this skein of yarn knits up. But I just loved knitting this pattern. It was very easily broken into like sections and very easy to complete and follow along with. So yeah, I love this shawl. I'm so glad to have it done before the deadline. I still need to take some nice like finished object photos of it. I actually took some the other day, and then when I was going to post them on Instagram, I realized I was like showing the wrong side in like all of them. And I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, so I need to retake those so that it's the right side. And show off like the pretty lace on the correct side, don't you think? Like, I don't think it should be, I don't think it should be on the wrong side. So anyways, I'll have to redo those photos, but that's okay. I don't mind. But that's my Shine Bright shawl. And yeah, so happy to have it done. And it's a cute sample that I can use for years to come, probably. Okay, my next finished objects are the Hourglass pattern by Danielle of Midwest Stitches. This is a dishcloth, dishwasher. Just kidding. It's a dishcloth, and this was such a fun pattern to make. Yeah, you like do each section and then you cast on the next section, but it's so fun. Very engaging. For me, it's nice to have projects that kind of have like a point to get to, like get to this point, and then you can like take a break, or you can like you know, like wait to move on, or you could just sit there and do it all or whatever. But I like those kinds of projects, for me especially, because it kind of gives me like a stopping point for like kids. If I'm like, yeah, I'll get it for you in just a second, like let me just finish these few more short rows. But for this I used Dishie worsted. They're from Knit Picks. Let me see. Dishie worsted, and I used, I think it has the names on here. Oh yeah, so the mint blue is called Wave, and the other one is Black Twist. And I just thought that was a fun combination. I have these here. I just thought those were a really fun combination for the dishcloth. And I think it's you can also do the pattern in all one color, and I think that would be really pretty too in either of these. But I also made, why I said I had three finished objects, is because I also made the coaster size. And I originally thought, because I used a US 2mm needle, I thought that this might end up a little small because it's like smaller than the size that is recommended in the pattern. But I was trying to make a coaster and I wanted it to be this size, but I knew I was using the smaller needles, so like I cast on this size, but it was pretty big. I mean, it still works for like a mug of coffee or something if you want, but the coaster size is definitely better and obviously way quicker to finish. So again, this is Hourglass from Danielle of Midwest Stitches, and this is a paid for pattern, but it was so fun to knit, and I definitely see this pattern in my future projects. And I've got tons of Dishie now. I think I shared it on like 2 episodes ago. I've got tons of Dishie now from Knit Picks when they had it on sale, and so now I can make tons of these if I want. So that is my finished object number 2 and 3. So for my whips, this should have actually been a finished object for this episode, but I ran out of yarn. I lost that yarn chicken on my decreases. Yeah. So I thought for sure I was not going to play yarn chicken on this because it was more yardage than the other one that I played yarn chicken on. And I still played yarn chicken. I don't understand. I don't understand. Maybe if you understand that, you can let me know in the comments. I still made this to the same measurement that the pattern like recommends before starting the decreases, and then I just ran out at the decreases. And instead of ripping back and doing the decreases again, I decided to wait because I am using, I don't know where my tag went, but I am using Knitwit yarn in the like Gila National Dwellings Monument colorway. And my friend Courtney from Shea Crochet, she also made a hat pattern out of this yarn. for the Summer Sailor Stitch Along 2025 that I am hosting over on Instagram for Hats for Sailors. And so she was like, I'll just send you the rest of my yarn that I had left over from my hat. So I'm just waiting to finish it until I receive that yarn. Hopefully I can get that soon, so then I can get this finished up and it'll be an actual finished object. But this is the classic ribbed hat pattern by Purl Soho. It's a free hat pattern and it's just a 1x1 rib. So like you literally 1x1 rib the entire way up. But it's a fun pattern. I actually enjoy kind of the change in rhythm instead of just like straight stockinette or anything like that. I kind of enjoy the rhythm of like, okay, now I'm doing ribbing, you know? And it's actually, this hat fits like so nice too. I don't know where I'm at right here, but let's see. Oh yeah, nice. I always do that right in the front. Yeah, it's such a nice, this is the adult medium. And it's such a nice fitting hat. Like I think I'm gonna make myself a hat in this pattern because it's so squishy and it's like, it's fitted, it's not loose, it doesn't like move around or anything. There's like no issues on the adult medium for me. And I've been using, let's see, my hair is probably all crazy now. I've been using the US 4 3.5 millimeter needles from ChowGoo for my ChowGoo red lace set on those. And so I'm kind of waiting until I can get this hat off the needles before I start my next one. My make along ends on August 31st. And so I'm trying to figure out if I can get this done in time. Will I have enough time to make one more hat for the knit along? It depends on when I can finish this one. If I can finish it soon, then I can probably squeeze out one more hat. If I can't, then I had made 3 hats for the make along. Yeah, and those are starting to roll in too, by the way. So this is the Summer Sailor Stitch Along 2025. I have received probably 10 hats or so far from my knitting guild. Okay, so it actually cut me off and it's a little later in the day now, so if this looks a little weird, that's why. I was just talking about this hat that I am almost done with, the classic ribbed hat by Purl Soho, and I actually started receiving some hats in the mail, not in the mail, but from my Drop Stitch Knitters Guild members for Hats for Sailors. I've received probably about a half a dozen or so hats so far, and I will start tagging them up with just like some instructions on like how to care for the hat and that sort of thing for the sailors. I don't remember what else I had said about that or which part got cut off, but yeah, if you are participating in the hashtag Summer Sailor Stitch Along 2025, I really appreciate you participating. I know that it's a small act of kindness for a U.S. sailor or U.S. Coast Guard member and the men and women who sacrifice for our country, and also for their families too, who also are sacrificing having their service member home with them. So it's just a small token of appreciation and gratitude for their service work. My second whip is actually my Saul Goodman socks. I am knitting the Saul Goodman pattern, which is a 2x2 rib starting at the cuff all the way down. It's a broken rib pattern on the leg because Saul Goodman, although he is mostly a straight and narrow lawyer, does deviate from that a little bit in Breaking Bad when he has his kind of own Breaking Bad moments. They call him Slippin' Jimmy in Better Call Saul, so that's kind of why. But so it's a broken rib, and then it has a half linen stitch heel flap, which takes a little bit more effort to knit, but it looks amazing, especially in this breaking, I'm sorry, not breaking, in this Saul Goodman colorway. I think it just looks so nice. And then it has a rounded toe, and I am actually working. This is a bag by SlipSlipSis. I have, these are Sailor Gnomes. I have a larger bag as a prize for the Summer Sailor Stitch Along from SlipSlipSis. But I am working on the second sock, and I'm actually pretty far along. I'm on the foot of the sock, so I hope to have this done by next episode, maybe even by next week. It would be nice to have this done. Yeah, so I'm almost there. This little sock blocker stitch marker is from Savannah of MaughansterKnits. I will put a link down in the description box for any of the shops or items that I mentioned in today's video, along with my project pages and anything that you want to check out in case I don't mention it here in the podcast. I'm using 9-inch circulars. These are fixed circulars from Gu, and these are in a US 1.5 a US 1.5 2.5 millimeter needle, and I have switched all of my socks to being knit and 9-inch fixed circulars, just because I feel like it has a strong and smooth join more than like the interchangeable for the socks. So that is my second whip. My third whip, I actually started all again. Let me show you this. This is the You Matter socks by Always Be Kind yarn, and I actually talked about these a few episodes ago, and I ended up ripping them and starting completely over. But I am actually making shorty socks now. I did a rolled cuff with 15 rounds in Holly White. This is an unknown yarn to me in this self-striping yarn. And then I did a black heel, which is Jane Margolis from my shop. And again, on my 9-inch fixed Gu circulars, and same size, US 1.5 2.5 millimeter needles. And I ripped these last time because I realized I wasn't going to have enough of the yarn, of this yarn, to do the way that I was doing it. And this sock pattern has, you duplicate stitch actually a semicolon on the leg, and then also you put you matter on, so like on one foot it says you and the other foot it says matter, and you're like kind of like a suicide prevention type of sock pattern. And this is the pattern that I'm using for the sock treasure hunt cal, which is hosted by the Nitty Bitty Sisters over on Instagram. It is running until August 31st, so I'm hoping to get this pair finished by then so that I can enter their make along for that pattern. And I think the rules are that it can be a pattern on Ravelry that has less than 10 projects and it's older than 1 year. So if you find a pattern that meets those requirements, you can make them for the cal and then be entered to win prizes. You should check out their Instagram page for all of the details. But those are the highlights, and I think they recommend that you take a screenshot of where it shows how many projects that pattern has before you do it. So that is another whip of mine. It's my last whip that I'm sharing today, actually. I have one acquisition. I was able to go to Wild and Woolly. This is in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and I actually went to North Carolina and South Carolina with my older brother and my sister-in-law. We went to Wild and Woolly, and I think these might be some of the owners, and I met Debbie and she was super nice. And I bought this kit. It's the Wild and Woolly Picot Shawl Kit. This I bought because it comes with the yarn and the pattern and also a few notions that I'll show you. But it also has, this is a exclusive yarn and colorway to their shop. And so I wanted to get something more as like a souvenir from the area. And this is called Wild and Woolly. And it's called Low Country Sunset Studio Socks Fingering. And it says it's dyed exclusively for Wild and Woolly by the Fiber Studio at Yarns to Die For, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's actually kind of perfect that it is both Charlotte and South Carolina, because I got to go to both places. But I got that, and it comes with the pattern, and then it also comes with a few notions that are like stitch markers, the darning needle, and like a little handmade tag. So it was a fun trip. We got to go to Charlotte, North Carolina with my older brother and sister-in-law. They had a little bit of business to finish up before fully moving to Arizona to be back with my parents. And we've always talked about going there together because I was born in Charleston, South Carolina. So it was nice to go back. I haven't been back there since I was a child. And we actually got to go visit the house that we used to live in, and we met the owner, and she was super sweet, and she let us recreate a family photo, which was just amazing. And yeah, it was definitely a trip of a lifetime for sure that I will not ever forget. So I definitely wanted to get a souvenir from there, and it was actually difficult to find yarn stores in that area, but I did find one on a recommendation from a lady at the Charleston City Market that I also went to, which was really fun. I had my stitch night at Yarning, where I did a full dyeing demonstration outside in the parking lot for Breaking Violet. That was so much fun to get to meet all of the people who participate in that stitch night at Yarning, and just share a little bit about the Breaking Yarn story and how I got started, and then do a live dyeing demo. It was a lot of fun, and Laura has really cultivated a really cool community over there, and I was very thankful and blessed to be a part of that. The last thing I have is that I put out a brand new video on YouTube called Clean With Me, and it's where I clean my dye studio space because it has been such a mess. And I used it as motivation for me to get it all cleaned up, get my walkway path cleared, clean all the surfaces. And in the meantime, like while I was doing that, I actually dyed a one-of-a-kind skein of yarn. This has some pinks and some grays, and it's obviously blue. And then I paired it with this same blue color, but this is more of a tone, solid, and then this is more of a little bit more variegated with the speckles and stuff. But if you comment on that video, like and subscribe to my channel, I will choose a winner to win this sock set. So I think that's it for episode 70 of Breaking Yarn podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.